What's up, YouTube? So today's topic, I'm going to talk about the reasons why I am so grateful and I'm blessed to be born as a male, as a guy in this lifetime. So let's get to it. So the reason why I say this is because I have nothing against women. I'm not. I think there's a word for it. Is a misogynist or something. I forgot the word, but it's basically a term for like a man is against women or whatever. But no, I'm not like that. I just there's a shit I've observed on social media and in real life, things I've experienced, the things other people experience, and just my research and me just really studying women and shit like that. I'm realizing that I'm very blessed to be a male in this lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Um, because and I'm straight. I'm not. I'm straight. So I don't mean it in that way. I mean it like when it comes to my gender, I'm grateful I'm a male. But but I say this because one, I'm faster, stronger. I could critical think. I could think logically. I can make sound decisions. I know ways to improve my life or just get out of my situation. And I don't use people as opportunities. I don't rely on my body or my sex appeal to gain opportunities. Most women do that shit. I'm not saying all women, but most women do shit like that. A lot of women, in order for them to get ahead of life and for them to have the best opportunity to live a happy, successful life for them and to take care of the offspring, is for them to basically sell their bodies because they use their bodies to manipulate men. It's been like since history. But not only that, but like women, they can't really go outside like that. They can't run. They can't really defend themselves. They're a lot more weaker physically and stuff like that. So this is why you always see women walk in groups or they go in packs. And when they go out, it's because they can't really physically think. They can't defend themselves. But also, I feel like most women don't think for themselves. A lot of women do not know how to think for themselves. This is why they fall into groupthink. A lot of women follow society standards and stuff like that. And a lot of women are very narcissistic and they're very opportunistic and just arrogant and shit like that. It's because they got that shit from social media. They got it from society. They got it from the rise of feminism. They got it from the novels, the books, the movies, the shows, the music they watch and hear. All this shit plays a huge role. And and I think someone said that people don't realize that we are living in dark times. I kind of agree. Now each era is different. There are pros and cons to each era, but I can see why we live in a very dark time is because when it comes to the dating market, it's very insane. A lot of women are very narcissistic. They're very arrogant. Most women are not doing the healing work, and me personally, despite the rise of feminism, you see movies, shows, they promote cheating and infidelity, and they promote being a hoe and a whore, basically. Despite the music, I feel like the main reason why women are the way they are is social media. Social media plays a huge role because what social media does is that you have most women who are nobodies, who are not really doing anything. Because of social media, all I got to do is post pictures of their body parts, and now they're going viral, or now they have a large following and stuff like that. So now, because they view that as them getting success or they're able to get attention like that, they feel like that's the way they go about life. In reality, that's not. You're supposed to do the healing work. You're supposed to experience life in real life. You're supposed to know more about yourself. You're supposed to do self-reflection and stuff like that. It's been like this before social media, but because of social media, it forces a lot of women to escape, to fall into addictions, and to basically run away from themselves and stuff like that. So this is why most women they lack empathy, they lack morals, they're very opportunistic, and it's hard for women to maintain a relationship or connection with guys because the shit they gotten from social media and stuff like that, so, and I do blame their parents as well. Their parents plays a huge role. I feel like I forgot which generation it's called. It's not Gen Z, it's the millennials, I think. Regardless, the parents raising Gen Z failed greatly. They failed a lot, and it's all over social media and how much they fucked up. Most parents failed Gen Z. Most parents failed to raise Gen Z properly. Yes, they may offer them a roof over their head, shelter, and stuff like that. But when it comes to emotional support, when it comes to life guidance and stuff like that, they failed on every aspect. As a parent, you are supposed to provide for your child financially. You're supposed to provide for your child you're supposed to provide for your child with resources and a roof over their head and food, and that's a prerequisite. You're supposed to be there for them emotionally. You're supposed to help guide them, teach them, male and female, mother and father. Most of these parents raising Gen Z failed clearly because you see how a lot of women in this generation act. You see how you see how they operate. You see how they're opportunistic and they carry themselves as like whores. Most of them do shit like that because their parents failed them. But also social media also plays a huge role as well too. It promotes a lot of fuckery. It promotes women to be whores. It promotes women to be very narcissistic. It promotes women to like empathy and stuff like that. And I be seeing this shit too because the same woman who has a large following and who's going viral, whether it be like OnlyFans making money, because you have women who makes more money compared to athletes, compared to famous people, by having an OnlyFans, by being a prostitute, compared to people who actually earn their wealth and their fame. They're going viral, they're getting paid a lot, and then you have women, and they're all average women. They're not really doing anything in real life. Even before social media, most women you see that are famous, rich, they'll be nobodies and they want to be doing shit in real life before the social media age. But because of simps and guys who lack attention, because their parents failed them, because now they're failing to do the healing work, and a lot of guys will give these bitches attention and shit like that, and that's how they go viral and that's how they get paid. So it's an endless cycle of bullshit from parents failing to raise their kids. Then you got societal programming, the rise of feminism and social media and all this other bullshit due to the government, and for some reason God or the universe, they're allowing this shit to happen, which I don't know why. That's up to them, but in this realm there's a lot of shit going on, you know what I'm saying? So this is why people are the way they are and shit like that. So it's really fucking annoying. It's why the dating market is so hard. Now I'm only talking about in America. I don't know how it is in different countries, but I'm just talking about specifically America. Maybe women are different in different countries and stuff like that. I've heard, you know, we all heard the term passport bros, or people going overseas to marry, to find a better woman. How I view it is that, like, I can't really have a say so because I don't know what it's like in different countries. But what I can say is that they gotta be careful, because the reason why I feel like a lot of women tend to fall in love, or tend to get married to American guys so quickly is because they try to use them as a free passport for them to be an American so they can have more opportunities. So they use their body, they marry them, and they give them a lot of love, affection, and attention just so they could be an American, so they could have that citizenship, so they can have more opportunities to provide for themselves and their family and their bloodline. And then once they're at that point, then they divorce the man, and then they screw them over, and then they betray them. So there's that aspect, but there also could very well be another aspect to where people do operate differently in these other countries. They're more friendlier, they have more morals, they have more empathy, they have more common sense, they have more self-awareness and shit like that, and they have integrity and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So, and they have more honor, you know, in different countries. So that could also be the case as well. But yeah, but for the most part, most American women, the reason why they are the way they are is because of social media programming, feminism, what society promotes and stuff like that. So you have a lot of bitches who are losers in real life, but because of social media, they think they're somebody. So when it comes to their dating standards and their preferences, they think they're above a lot of people. In reality, they're not. They prefer dudes out of their league. They prefer dudes that these women are nowhere near them, and it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't have women who are not doing anything in real life. Well, they can't even obtain these guys, first off, because it'll either be a one and done, or even they do get into the connection, these guys won't last long. So women think that they don't have to put in the work. They think that they could, like, scot by, like they think they can get away with life scot-free and attract all the abundance and wealth they want, which may work short term, but it's not gonna work long term, because they're gonna fuck themselves in the long run. They're gonna screw themselves over, because if they're not doing the healing work and not putting in the work internally and externally, they're just relying on their looks, being a whore and a prostitute, getting money out of the most unmoralistic way. That's gonna backfire them regardless. Imagine you see all these women who have OnlyFans, who are promoting being a hoe and a prostitute and shit like that, and how they carry themselves. And I see this shit in real life too. I see how women dress, even younger women. Every time I go to the gym, every time I go out in public, even in schools and stuff like that, a lot of women, they dress very whorish. They reveal their skin a lot. They wear tight jeans revealing their body parts, or they wear short shorts and shit like that. They're always showing skin. They dress like prostitutes, and they promote, and because of society promotes prostitution, and their parents, like I said, they failed them. They don't teach them how to dress. They don't teach them how to carry themselves, how to not carry themselves like a fucking whore. You know what I'm saying? So their fathers failed them, their mothers failed them with emotional support, but also with proper life guidance and shit like that. Because a lot of people have kids recklessly and not think long term on how it's going to affect their child and their offspring and their future generations, mentally, psychologically, physically, and stuff like that. So there's a lot of fuck shit going on in this bullshit ass society. You know what I'm saying? So we got corrupt government, God in the universe, and in these higher realms, these entities are allowing this shit to happen. And you got people who are not thinking, who are not doing the healing work, who don't give a fuck, or they just, it has to be something that they're not willing to face themselves, and then it creates a lot of bullshit in this fucking society, you know. So but yeah, man, but I'm so happy I don't have kids. I'm so happy I don't have a daughter, because raising, if I had a daughter, raising her in this generation would be fucking insane, man. The rest of social media, I will never let my kids use social media until they're adults. I will not. Until they reach over 18, they're allowed to use social media. But until then, they're not. I'm going to teach them everything about life, the dangers of social media, and just a lot of bullshit, the ins and outs of the society, and how people are wicked and they're opportunistic and shit like that. We live in a very evil society. But yeah, but like I said, I'm glad I'm not a female in this lifetime, because I feel like being a woman's low key like a curse. Not, I want to say a curse. I don't want to go to that extreme, but most women, you actually study society and actually like study human history, a lot of women make dumb decisions. A lot of women are not mentally stable. A lot of women, they lack morals. Most of them lack morals. Most women are more prone to betraying. They're more prone to not being loyal. They're more prone, and I'm not saying you have to be obligated to be loyal. If you're with an abusive partner, yeah, leave it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that most women tend to be, they tend to cheat a lot behind a person's back without being upfront or honest with them. A lot of women are very opportunistic. They use guys for money and resources. They cheat. They backstab. They're not honest. They lie a lot. They don't take accountability. They fall into groupthink. Most of them are not unique. Most of them do not question society. A lot of women do not invent anything. They hadn't made any important change in human history. And they want to say that, oh, but men always go into war, men cause violence. That may be the case, but also men also create things. They invent things. They've made a lot of important changes within society when it comes to inventions, when it comes to creations, when it comes to buildings. Everything you see, men made that shit. You know, so women saying that men cause violence or wars, that may be the case, but that's not more so a man thing. It's more so a human thing, because most human beings are mentally unstable. Most human beings are fucking stupid and evil. So there's why we have this shit where we have. Look at females. Imagine if females are in power, the world will be a lot more chaotic. They will not invent anything. They will not create anything, because they're not wired to, because women are not logical, which in turn it makes them kind of dumb low-key, because they're ruled by emotions and stuff like that. So this is why women do the shit they do. They make impulsive decisions. They date bad men, or they have one experience with bad men. They think every man is like that. And then because women are responsible for sex, they are responsible for reproducing families. The reason why we have so many broken homes, dysfunctional families, the toxic households and shit like that is because you have a lot of women in every generation choosing the wrong man because they make them feel good. Women are very easily to be manipulated because they're ruled by their emotions. And then when you have narcissistic men who like to manipulate women into them feeling good, when even the man has bad intentions, they have a kid, and then it creates more generational curses, more generations of bullshit. You got all this dumbass shit going on. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't want to put all the blame towards women. We have a lot of men who are not doing the healing work as well, because of society, because of this realm. But it's a huge domino effect. But this video is more so about women, and how like the more I research, the more I observe, the more I experience in real life, that a lot of women, they're not really about anything. They're lacking integrity. They're lacking morals. They're just fucking crazy. But that's all I gotta say. Have a good one. Peace.